Did you know that the Eucharist has turned into real human heart tissue? That it's bled human blood, and even stunned scientists who examined it and said the cells were alive? These aren't just ancient stories. They are documented events, scrutinized by modern science. Today, we're diving into 7 real Eucharistic miracles that science simply could not explain. Let's start with our first miracle, which takes us to Lanciano, Italy, in the year 700. Imagine a Basilian monk struggling with deep doubt about the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. As he spoke the sacred words of consecration, the unthinkable happened. The host transformed into visible, tangible flesh, and the wine turned into real, liquid blood. Right there in his hands. This miracle wasn't a fleeting vision. It has been preserved for over 1,300 years, and you can still see it today at the Church of St. Francis in Italy. For centuries, people took it on faith. But in 1971, the Church decided to put it to the ultimate test through modern science. Dr. Odoardo Linoli, a world-renowned pathologist, led a full scientific team to examine the relics. Their findings were nothing short of shocking. The flesh was confirmed to be human cardiac tissue. That's heart muscle. The blood was human, type AB, the same blood type found on the Shroud of Turin. And here's the most baffling part. There were absolutely no preservatives of any kind, yet the flesh and blood had shown no signs of decay for over a millennium. Furthermore, the proteins in the tissue were arranged in the exact same way they would be in a living human heart. The scientific results were published in Italian science journals, laying out the raw facts. Science gave the facts, but it was faith that gave the meaning. Now, let's jump forward nearly 1,300 years to Buenos Aires, Argentina, in 1996. The story begins in a very simple, humble way at St. Mary's Church. A consecrated host was accidentally dropped during communion. Following protocol, it was placed in a container of water to dissolve respectfully, but it didn't dissolve. Days later, it transformed into a piece of bloody tissue. The local bishop, tasked with overseeing the investigation, was a man named Jorge Mario Bergoglio, who we later know as Pope Francis. He ordered a sample to be sent anonymously to one of the world's leading cardiologists and forensic pathologists in New York, Dr. Frederick Sugibe. Dr. Zugib had no idea where the sample came from. His conclusions were astounding. He identified the sample as tissue from the left ventricle of a human heart, the muscle responsible for pumping blood to the entire body. He noted that the cells were alive and appeared to be beating as if they had just been taken from a living person. He also found that the heart had undergone severe trauma, the kind seen in someone who has been beaten badly about the chest. The blood type was AB positive, and in an incredible link across time, the sample was a perfect match for the ancient miracle of Lanciano. When Dr. Zugib was finally told that the living, suffering heart tissue he had examined came from a consecrated host that had been sitting in water, his scientific mind reeled. He reportedly said, "It's impossible. This tissue was alive. A living heart, suffering intensely." Our next stop is Tixtla, Mexico, in 2006. On October 21st, during a parish retreat mass, a consecrated host that had been placed in a ciborium, a sacred vessel, began to visibly exude a reddish substance, like blood. The event was witnessed by the priest and the entire congregation. The local bishop, Alejo Zabala Castro, immediately launched a full-scale investigation to determine what had happened. He enlisted the help of Dr. Ricardo Casanan Gomez, a neuroscientist and, at the time, a self-professed atheist, to lead the scientific team. Dr. Gomez approached the task with pure skepticism, determined to find a natural explanation, but the results defied all of his expectations. The substance was confirmed to be human blood, type AB. The tissue it came from was heart muscle, or myocardium. Critically, the sample contained intact white blood cells. This is scientifically significant because white blood cells disintegrate within minutes of being outside a living body. Furthermore, the tissue showed signs of extreme inflammation, indicating that the person it belonged to was experiencing severe agony. There were no chemical additives or preservatives found. The evidence was so overwhelming that it transformed the lead scientist, Dr. Castanon, The once skeptical atheist was reported to have said, "This is the heart of someone who suffered intensely." From Mexico, we traveled to Legnica, Poland, for a much more recent event. It was Christmas Day in 2013, at St. Hyacinth's Church. A host was accidentally dropped during the distribution of communion. As protocol dictates, it was placed in water to dissolve. But soon after, a blood-red patch appeared on its surface. The local bishop, Stefan Sici, didn't dismiss it. He ordered a comprehensive investigation. The case was turned over to the Polish Forensic Medicine Department and the Pomeranian Medical University, two highly respected secular institutions. Their findings stated that the substance was human heart tissue, specifically myocardium, in a state of agony, similar to the tissue of a person experiencing a heart attack. DNA was present, but strangely, it was unidentifiable by standard scientific protocols. The scientists confirmed there were absolutely no signs of artifice, manipulation, or contamination. The structures they observed were those of living tissue. Based on this rigorous scientific evidence, on April 10th, 2016, the Vatican officially reviewed the findings and approved the Avenza veneration as a Eucharistic miracle. This was a modern miracle, investigated with modern science, and approved by the Church. Our fifth miracle takes us to Butania, Venezuela, in 1991. On December 8th, the Solemnity of the Immaculate Conception, a priest named Father Acutis was celebrating Mass at the sanctuary of Betania. As he held up the host, he saw it begin to bleed. The blood spread across the white surface of the host, right in front of the entire congregation. It wasn't a private vision. Hundreds of people witnessed it happen in real time. The local bishop, Pio Beja Ricardo, was known for being extremely cautious and even skeptical. He was a former psychologist and a Harvard-trained academic, not someone prone to accepting supernatural claims lightly. He commissioned a group of scientists to analyze the bleeding host. Their findings once again corroborated the impossible. It was human blood, blood type AB. And just like the others, there was no evidence of fraud or any preservatives used to create the effect. Given the public nature of the miracle, the hundreds of eyewitnesses, and the scientific verification, the highly cautious Bishop Bello officially approved it as authentic. A modern, public, and scientifically verified miracle. Next, we journeyed to Chirattakonam, India, in 2001. On April 28th, during Eucharistic adoration at St. Mary's Church, the parish priest, Father Johnson Carnor, noticed something strange. An image was beginning to form on the host displayed in the monstrance. He didn't keep it to himself. He documented it. The image developed in stages, and he took photographs at each phase. What finally appeared stunned the entire parish. It was a human face, clearly identifiable with a crown of thorns, and from it emanated rays of red and white light. A theological and scientific commission was established to examine the photographs and investigate the circumstances surrounding the event. They were looking for any sign of manipulation, a camera trick, or some natural phenomenon that could explain the image. They found nothing. There was no trickery, no natural explanation. Father Carnor said it best. Jesus revealed himself in the Eucharist before our eyes. Finally, we go to Kibaho, Rwanda, a place already known for Marian apparitions. In 1994, during the darkest days of the Rwandan genocide, a sign of hope appeared. During Mass in the parish church, as the priest elevated the consecrated host for all to see, a red liquid that looked just like blood appeared and spread across its surface. This wasn't a quiet event. It was seen by the entire congregation at the same moment. Hundreds of witnesses, including religious sisters, altar servers, and the lay faithful. The church immediately began documenting what had happened, gathering multiple eyewitness testimonies and written statements from clergy. To this day, the people of Kibaho still speak about that Mass, the day the Eucharist revealed a visible sign of Christ's suffering in the same parish where, for countless Catholics across Africa and the world, this event stands as one of the continent's most powerful and widely witnessed Eucharistic events. 7 miracles: Lanciano, Buenos Aires, Tixtla Legnica, Butania, Chirattakonam, and Kibaho. These aren't legends from a dusty book. They happened in real places, on real dates, and were investigated thoroughly. The science points to the same impossible conclusions. Living human heart tissue in a state of suffering with type AB blood. And all of these miracles point to one single, profound truth: that Jesus is truly, physically, and substantially present in the Eucharist. Thanks for watching. If this video moved you, kindly subscribe and share widely.